Good evening, good evening, good evening. Well, welcome to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond. And listen, we are back for season 2 with my co-host, Samara M. with Samara Self-Care Corner. Welcome back, Samara.
It feels so good to be back. Wow.
I know. So listen, audience. So before we get started, we'd like you to hit the like and the share button because, like I said last season, where are you going to go and get some free therapy talk? Not in too many places. So this is something that Upfront has brought again back for season 2 with a licensed therapist. And Samara, I just want to announce that I have now been classified as a counselor in training. Woo, woo, woo.
Nice. That's so exciting. You have so much to provide. So we can't wait to hear about everything that you're going to do, Miss Counselor in Training.
Counselor in training. Yes, it's a process, but hey, I'm making it. I'm in internship right now, so it's going well.
That's amazing.
My groups that I'm doing, they are having a lovely time. Actually, some of it has increased. They be asking for me now, so
I would hope so.
it's good. It's really good. So, Samara, tell the audience what you have been doing. Since we took this little break, because we know what the month is. The month is April is Stress Awareness Month. And, this is as you being the art therapist, as you being someone who is therapeutic. So tonight we're going to offer up some questions. If anyone has any questions that they want to put in the chat, because again, stress can kill. But April is Stress Awareness Month. I'm going to come off and give you some things that you can do in relations to stress reduction. And there's some other things that I have coming up with stress reduction as well. So, Samara, tell the audience how you've been doing, what's been going on.
I mean, the winter was fine. Things are good. I can't complain. I've been trying to just keep myself occupied, with work and home obligations. I've been making sure that I take on new hobbies or new, activities. Like I was at the gym earlier today. That felt good. I'm starting to swim because I had a knee injury that I had surgery for. And now that that's being pretty much fully recovered, I could get back into swimming and, really push my limits a little more and see how I could be active again. So that's been a big one. I'm very excited about that. And it's hysterical that April is Stress Awareness Month because the whole past 2 years has just been its own everyone's so stressed kind of thing. Everyone's feeling the stress in one way, shape, or form. So this is a good topic to kind of bring up just because when are we never gonna like get enough of stress, right? When are we always gonna like finally get that break? And I guess for some people the reality feels like they're never gonna get a break from stress. It's just at this point we have to maintain it much better. So that's what we'll be discussing today, especially with the approaches of how you could relieve stress for your soul, your mind, your body as we focus on those things in this podcast. So it'll be a good discussion, Michelle. I think it's much needed.
Much needed, much needed. And I was like, this would be perfect, perfect for tonight's topic, because you said a couple of things that you have been doing in revenue and with your stress, dealing with changing hobbies, because, there's three areas that stress is. It can be environmental, it can be your physical, and it can be your mental. But,
Mm-hmm.
you have those indicators, you have those indicators. And like you said, sometimes you may need to change your atmosphere, change your people, places, of things, different things like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, it was something that you just said that triggered me to think about it. Stress is going to be here.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
No, it's really not. People have this false or misconception that if they're happy, they're not stressed. But a lot of the stress that we have in our lives are also underratedly blessings. Like a lot of times, like let's say, oh, I have to go to the supermarket because I'm going to have so many people in my house and I'm so stressed out because I don't know if I'm going to feed everyone. But it's like, well, that's a blessing. At least you have people coming over to your house and you're going to be, feeding them and hosting them. Some people don't have a roof over their heads. It's just like not even comparing, but it's just to put into perspective how we think of our stress and how we get overwhelmed by a lot of things, how we handle those things. Also, it's in its own process, just like coming to terms with what we have to deal with. Some people have to deal with things that are different from others, and that's fine too, right? And I do tell my clients a lot about, hold on, about changing their places, their people, their, interactions, the things that they do, because it is really important to get a really good, routine set as opposed to like feeling scrambled and all over the place. So we'll be able to go over a few things that I think, aside from having some understanding of these things, no one's going to be an expert. Like we'll be really discussing like a lot of things that are working for us, at least, or things that we find to be really valuable that we would never want to take for granted. So I just want to put that out there for sure.
And thank you so much for putting that out there. Because again, some people do need to get the clarity of it. Stress is not going nowhere, but the importance is how we handle it. The importance is how we handle it. And again, it's three different types of way that you can look at your stress. And some things that we do that make us stress. Because again, if I have a time management problem, that's going to make me have stress. So what do we need to do? We need to work on that time management, so you won't become so stressed when over. If I'm a procrastinator, those are some other little areas, and those things are what we would call in the basis of, those would be some physical things, mentally things, that awarenesses that we need to bring. So one of the questions that I'm going to throw out tonight, in
Okay.
order, since there is, um, what I've been doing within the season, I have this new stress relief coloring, adult coloring book
Oh, that's so
that has
cute.
some affirmations in it. And there's a part two that will be released in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
And also, if anyone wants to, with any of the topics that we talk about, we can go back to my other book that was created last year, Let's Talk No Stress. It's a guide of management and different things like that as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, so those are a couple of things that's been going on, and this is the Let's Talk No Stress actually appeared during the time of the COVID when people weren't getting around, and I just shut in a weekend and we're just talking about the major things, that was making it. To make a stress diary, a stress diary. One of the tactics, Samara, have you ever heard of the 2-week stress journal?
No, tell us about it. Like, how did you come to that idea or that?
So a 2 week stress journal. This is one of these stress assessments that you do to figure how to trigger to find out what is your trigger or what you be doing. So what happens
Okay.
for the 14 days, you make a journal when you felt stress. It is when it occurred, what you were doing, and what was happening. You do that for 14 days straight, right? And then in the 14th day, you go back and look through that, and then it gives you the identifier of what's making it. It was a person, place, or thing that makes you do it. So that is a
Okay.
2 week stress journal that you do for 14 days of color with the path of your stress and what happens. And name what you were doing, what were you doing, what was happening, what was the weather like. Weather also can change up and make things different too with your stresses levels and different things like that. But that's a 2 week stress journal that you can do, and you can go right back and look at it, and it can actually pinpoint what your reactors and what is the identify what your stressors were.
How are you able to talk someone through that without overwhelming them with all of those approaches?
So it's just like when, what, where, and time. Just those basic questions. Think
Okay.
about it. It makes you when, what, where, and what you were doing in time.
In time.
Yeah.
The wood. There you go.
So
So
yeah.
I think, when it comes to discussing stress, sometimes some people don't need to like go over all of the history or like the roots of the stress. Sometimes it's just inevitable that they're going to feel a certain type of way or they're going to feel overwhelmed because they have so many tasks and things to do. And it's really just coming to terms with that and understanding, time management, sure, but also like, what do you want to take care of first, or what is really most important? You're not going to take care of a bunch of things if you're also like didn't eat anything during the day or didn't have an adequate amount of water or like sleep or whatever else. So taking a lot of your energy levels and figuring out how you're feeling in that moment plays a big role. And for some people, especially when they're depressed, that makes a big difference. When people are usually depressed, their ambition or their, I guess, motivation decreases tremendously just because
Mhm.
they don't really have that ability to, like, do things that they would have to, you know, do to elevate themselves in that respect. It's not to say that anyone who's depressed, like, can't take care of themselves. It's just everyone's different, and some people respond with depression very differently. So it's really just about like getting to know yourself and getting to know your comforts when it comes to things that you could take care of. Like, some people claim that they do amazingly under stress, and I'm like, what's your secret? Because I
No,
don't.
right.
Yeah,
I know, right?
like high
So,
pressure and those kind of situations. um I would rather not, but for some people, more power to them. That's great. So, it's really just coming to terms, like I said, with where you thrive and how well you do and what kind of spaces you feel most comfortable and excel the most in.
and some people like that adrenaline rush. So that was that adrenaline and that cortisol. They love all of that type of stuff. So listen, everyone, there will be on where we are talking about. There will be a giveaway tonight. A giveaway will be you will have to say when this awareness month came into originate. When did it originate? And that the year that it originated. And one lucky person tonight will receive a one of the stress free uh, coloring book with
One
it's
of your
actually
coloring bugs.
yeah. So actually, it actually has some motivational quotes, my own personal motivational quotes, and I'll give out
Oh,
a couple of those tonight as well. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back here with my co-host tonight. I love her and missed her so much, and she
miss
is
you too.
back. with us, Samara M. So sit back, grab something to drink, grab a friend or two, because hey, we all know that stress. We have dealt with some stress in our lives. So yes, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond, and I am here tonight with my co-host, Miss Samara M., who is, but Samara, give the audience, what is your profession?
I'm an art therapist, Michelle. For those of you that are unfamiliar with art therapy, being an art therapist is a thrill. It's a really great approach to approaching different ways to communicate and be in a therapeutic space, and also work with someone that happens to be creative, and also allow you to tap in with different outlets and modalities on things that anyone could go through or may be going through. I'm very blessed. Yes, I am so blessed to be an art therapist. I get to see the world in a different, colorful way. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's really nice to connect with people in a way that doesn't feel so threatening every day. Like, even just talking sometimes, no one likes to talk. I mean, I like to hear myself talk sometimes. Like, I don't know. I guess that's just me, but um, I think it's really important, like we were kind of getting into the topic of stress, to just, do things that make you feel really good. So for me, talking helps because I like to put things out into the atmosphere and feel good impressions from them. So I'm always mindful, and I try to put, good things out there as opposed to, negativity or like harshness or like, hostile things. That's not my vibe. I went on a whole tangent there, but go on, Michelle.
You are fine, because that actually leads into one of the things that's in the book. And got a few visitors. Thank you, Dr. Trishika Green. She says, hello, Michelle. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday
Happy
to you guys.
Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you. Lisa Wilson, she says hello, and she says, I love coloring. Gotta get the book. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Shout
But
outs.
it is amazing. I will say, when because when I do the retreats, I often always, like you said, always do something for the mind, the body, and the spirit. If you are ever in search of finding someone to guide you through a coloring art therapeutic session, you need to get my friend here, because I'm gonna tell you, I was amazed and I was impressed by it, because I'm creative. At the retreat we had, she actually told us, to put on our mind, put happy thoughts in our mind, and just think about where you were. If you're going up or you going down, which direction you going. So it was like 8 of us sitting at the table, and we just was drawing, and then the interpretation from us pulling together. And what I loved about it was, you told us you had the next person interpret what it was. And some of the people were brand new in the room. Some people had never been around each other.
They
Some
didn't know
of us
each other. Yeah.
yeah, some people didn't know each other. But when we did it, the interpretation is actually what the person was really see going on in their life.
It was heartwarming. It was. I remember that. It brought all of you guys together in that room when it already felt so small. It still felt like comforting.
Right, right,
So
right. And
that was a great moment. And then the rest was history because here we are now. It's actually like really crazy because I remember like being introduced to you and like figuring out how, I would do a session over Zoom. Digital, having the digital space, it helps. If there was any silver lining that would come out of, I guess, COVID or just like figuring out one's resiliency from the pandemic, it would be to like really tap into the digital space.
exactly,
Really,
exactly.
especially with us, like I'm in New York City, you're in Maryland, so us really forming this space and like talking to each other on a podcast, like who would have thought? People usually are so adjusted at that time to like being in the same room from different chairs, and now it's like, okay, well, I'll tune in at 7 p.m., right? So
Exactly. Exactly.
it
You
says a lot.
know, yeah, and one of the things I have a couple of questions I'm going to ask you from the therapeutic side. We talked about environmental, mental, and your physical, and you brought out a good thing. We're talking about adequate sleep. People, and one of the things, a lot of people are having problems sleeping now,
Okay.
and it's because of stress, right? I know you in the therapeutic realm. I know you have heard that too as well.
Okay.
The increase of melatonin has increased much of people taking melatonin for sleep principles. So, and it's basically some of it is stress related. Is we don't know how to turn off. We taking our devices to bed with us,
Hmm.
and different things like that. So, Samara, for what kind of good stress relief regimen would you like a
Recommend
client comes
for
to you?
sleep.
Yeah, like a client that come to you. What kind of stress relief before bed to tone it down would you recommend?
It really depends on the person. I always recommend that people give themselves like a routine that they stick with before going to bed. It could be anything. It could be something as small as like having a cup of tea before you brush your teeth, or like if you brush your teeth and like at least, get in like the pajamas that you hope to fall asleep in. Stretch a little bit, uh, read a bit of a book that's gonna knock you out, and then or like count a little bit, listen to, I guess in a lot of cases, a podcast or like a story, or like put on some kind of noise that puts you in some kind of ease. It really varies. A lot of people also don't sleep well because of where they are in their environment. A lot of people can't sleep well because they're on edge or they're uncomfortable with the person next to them or who they're near, and those are harder to cope with. So I don't blame a person ever for like not being able to sleep or get comfortable. So it really varies on who comes to me or who I could interact with and offer that support and like finding ways to sleep better. Also, for like, let's say, for example, with Lisa saying that her mind doesn't shut down, there are ways that you could put your mind at ease. It won't shut down, but just to like really allow there to be that space to just like let something loose, right? The reason why our minds are always going is because in some ways it's telling us that we have to like focus on something or take care of something. But if we also like self-talk and we tell ourselves like, nope, not right now, or we put our phones away, our computers away, even just like watching TV could help a lot more than like being on your laptop. You could have like those Kindles or an actual physical book. A lot of people also use like their aromatherapy that could help too. But like I said, just narrowing down a routine, finding things that you feel really good about doing, knowing that you like to put face on like cream on your face before going to sleep because it helps with your skin routine. Like you could really do a lot of things. Even just like giving, like I said, really giving yourself that hour to tone things down before you actually go to sleep helps tremendously because you're not going to shut down in like a second. It's going to take some time to really wind down and mentally allow yourself to like settle in and just be in bed. So, or wherever you're sleeping. And I think also just like mindfully telling yourself that you're safe and that you're okay and that the next day is there for you. So, really just doing whatever you can with that, I think helps. At least it does for me also. Uh, Not everyone likes tea. So, I'm not saying that like tea is the way to go or any of these things are the 100% way to go. But yeah, try something that goes really well with you.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, having those several seats, in other words, or just like really figuring out your go-to, that's important. You're not going to find it overnight. You will like some things and want to keep it up. And also consistency is key. It really is. You have to keep up this routine. It's not going to just like fall into your lap. Or when it does fall into your lap, you want to really hold on to it. You know what I mean? So it's just there for you to really utilize and keep using.
You brought up a good point about different routines, because a lot of people don't know, and again, things have changed so much in our food industry, and like consistency is the key. But I always give people, when I talk these stress awareness, when I do these stress talks and stuff, stress management
Mm-hmm.
conferences and stuff, I tell people, do you really know what time, if you're a caffeine drinker, do you really know what time of the day to really stop that caffeine?
I would say in the evening, right?
Actually, if you're a caffeine drinker, it has been noted by theorists and theories that if you're a caffeine drinker, and it sets us up for failure, because when we go to restaurants and stuff, well, they'll give you a soda, and have a caffeine. So basically, they say at 2 p.m. you should shut it down. Caffeine in the afternoon. Yep.
What's going to happen with all the afternoon coffee runs that we do? How does that make any
Exactly.
sense? Yes.
Exactly. That's what they say. Because if you have, some people have trouble sleep, or some other things is with stress. The temperature of your room. Temperature has a lot to do with
Yeah,
whether
that
you toss and make you stress. Because if you don't, again, we're talking about stress awareness month, so we bring in some tips to everyone to let you know that some things, if you're doing, not to say you have to stop doing them, but these are some things that have been brought to about your temperature is
mhm.
another thing that can help. And my friend Dr. Tashika is on here. It is so funny. I had gave her a regimen. And it's funny because when I first started going into the health and wellness sector, I used to put these oatmeal baths together. And I see everybody doing this stuff now. When I was doing it, nobody would buy it. They thought it would be crazy that I was doing it with essential oils, the
Yeah.
oatmeal bath, and those type of things. Dr. Teal's
Yeah.
ashwagandha, the lavender, the eucalyptus, the clay, which is clay. A lot of people don't realize it's like a detoxification thing. So a lot of time we have so much detox stuff, toxins in our body that we are, and that can actually
Mhm.
wreak havoc with our stress levels as well. Dr. Tashika said, "Thanks, Michelle Bolden. Love my Dr. Teal's bath." There's a story
They
behind
have
that.
such good products. I don't blame anyone, especially
Yes,
their lotions are really nice. They even have deodorants that work really well that don't have any aluminum in them.
right,
So, I'm all
right.
for it.
And they also now, and I was looking, they now have shower gel
Yeah.
now. So they do have the shower gel now. So I just actually took me a nice run the weekend and got it. So I had to. I had to.
You went to see the doctor. It was your
I went
favorite
to see the doctor. I went to see the doctor. I definitely went to go see the doctor. Teal is his name. Teal.
Mr. Dr. Teal or
He's the feel good doctor.
yes. That's
He
a
is
good
the
way to
feel good doctor.
Oh,
So,
where's Dr. Teal?
it's this whole stress thing, and as you said, you're in New York City. So everyone, I did before the show came on. I was telling the backstage produced, and I was like, I haven't heard from her today, and I actually just thought about it. How many people are anxious? You would think now because of the incidents that just happened in New York yesterday and today, and I want to say thank God that you didn't have to go that route, because you probably would have been in that
Yeah,
route today. Look at the blessing of that today. So I want to say I'm thank God that you didn't have to go today, because you would have
absolutely.
been right in that today, the train, whatever. And for me, as being someone who's visit the city, it can be stressful with getting the D train, the flood train, and it's just a lot going on. So how many people you think now or like on this aware scene? You had people running yesterday because of the explosion at the pothole. I mean, you would think, but because again, this is triggering back to 9/11. A lot of people are still on the fence when they go to New York sometimes, because that's what they always will think and simulate that to that. So if a person who has been in that, so I'm hoping, and I know your city has done well, as you said. So give the audience some of the things that are put in place for these type of things that happen.
I guess to give some more background, there was a shooting and an incident that happened in one of the subway stations. It happened to be in Brooklyn, in a pretty populated area. It was also during rush hour, where in the morning, where people were trying to go back to, or from wherever they need to go to for work, even maybe to go home. You don't know. Uh, it was really scary, just because to know that what happens to us in one part of the area of the city could affect any other place. So even if I was to go somewhere from Manhattan and I need to go uptown, but the train that is going from Brooklyn into Manhattan, then into a different part of the city, like let's say uptown, everything gets affected. It's really sad. It's really scary. It's unpredictable. It was, in this case, I believe, premediated, which means that someone planned it out and they, went out of their way to do so. Which adds also a lot of questions of, like, why would someone want to do that to a bunch of people that probably have nothing to do with the person? Who knows? And it's it's a lot of uncertainty. Ever since 9/11, the city was able to bounce back after all those years, but we didn't forget about the consequences, or circumstantially how it affected everyone in traveling in the US. People don't believe that New York City is safe anymore, especially also after COVID, where there's a rise in homelessness and crime and drug use. It's just all
Mhm.
these things that no one really wants in their city. No one wants to have to see that or come across that in some way. Um, I mean, really, it's just about, I guess, to incorporate this with stress, like, it's inevitable. Like, you're gonna run into someone that's not doing well, that, needs to be back on their feet. But in New York City, there's so many programs, there's so many resources and things that people could do to get back on their feet. It's also really just about knowing what's out there and what to really put into your lifestyle. I think that's a really good way of looking at it. Just like living in New York City, that's a lifestyle. It's so different than living like a rural part of town in New York State. Living in New York City is like a whole nother uh, game to have to play. You really have to figure out like where you navigate yourself. The hustle is real, like the mentality is very fast paced. A lot of these things are really just things to take into consideration. But yeah, today was pretty scary, and I'm hoping that no one died. I don't think there was any casualties, but I know that people got injured. So that was pretty upsetting.
Yeah, so it is, again, environmental, physical, mental, and because people agitated, some people agitated, some people are sad, moody, anxious, all that could be results of stress. So we're here tonight to let you know that April is Stress Awareness Month. And for those who have just joined us, I actually gave out a way, if you feel in some type of way, we have a couple weeks left in this month. So there's some resources that we're going to give out today, but there's also a stress journal that I just gave out a tactic. If you're feeling like you're stressed, and you're documenting when, where, what, and the time. It's 2 weeks, and this, if you like writing a journal, you never know. Be creative with this. This might be it might be something that leads you to a book. It's all about a personal, because this is your personal stress journal. So it says for 2 weeks. So that means 2 weeks, 14 days. Document the date and the time that you felt any stress. Document the causes of your stress. And that means, hey, I was at work. Oh, I had this last assignment. But then it might make you, after the 14 weeks, to make you go back and look at, I waited till the last minute to do this job. I had this. It can make you identify, document your symptoms. And
Mm-hmm.
we're going to talk about a little bit of the symptoms, because if you have a lot of headaches, if you're having a lot of tension in your neck, shoulder aches, constipation, yes, those could be limited signs of stress.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? Am I right?
Yep. Back pain is a big one too. If you feel stress in your lower back, that's that's some place that your body's holding on to a lot of that pressure and uncertainty that you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
There is also, if you're prone to getting more under the weather and sick, it's probably because your body is shutting down from a lot of what you're dealing with, or just the overwhelming feeling of taking on so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They do say that you do run down on energy and your health a lot more. A lot of people with anxiety also have like irritable bowel syndrome. So those go hand in hand with each other. And if you're just an anxious person, that adds in general to a lot of the stress that you're going to feel already. A lot of things really do naturally will just go hand in hand, but a lot of it also feels like, self explanatory. But it's not always. Sometimes, what we say is, sometimes a stomach ache is just a stomach ache. Sometimes you just have a headache because you have a headache, or like maybe you're not in the right place of time right now. And you just happen to get a headache. Some people are prone to migraines. Migraines are not a joke. So it really does come down to this idea of figuring out, like, what are you most prone to,
Mm-hmm.
and like
Mm-hmm.
tackling that first and foremost as a priority. And, even just like eating habits make a big difference. And your body will just react to it naturally. Like if you eat a greasy slice of pizza, not that we don't love greasy slices of pizza, but if you eat a greasy slice of pizza, you're most likely your body's going to react to that not as well. Or you're going to hold on to the stress or the guilt or the pressures of like what you eat and when you eat it. It's a lot.
It's a
It's really,
lot.
yeah, it
It
is. I
is a lot.
mean, um, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Sometimes you just have to narrow down what's important to you. Are getting rid of headaches important to you? Is feeling comfortable in your own skin important to you? Is being in a safer environment important to you? Then do things to take care of those. Like set goals for yourself and tasks that could help you decide, like, exactly this, decide what is important to you. Especially for a lot of people, like, God forbid, that have, like, let's say, debilitating diseases or even cancer. Like, they know that they could survive it, or there's a chance that they may pass away from it. That's a whole nother animal. That's like a whole nother topic.
Right.
To that could be a
Right.
whole nother podcast episode. But I'm serious, like even grief and loss, like, and bereavement, it's a lot. So I think with that being said, it's really just coming down to also understanding like your own customs. A lot of people culturally deal with things very differently. Stress is like really understood or talked about very differently depending on anywhere you come from. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's really just a conversation that anyone could have, whether it's with yourself or with a close friend or a loved one. Even listening to us talk about stress, it doesn't have to be stressful, if that makes sense. Like, it's just something that you want to identify and put out in the atmosphere because it's important to you.
Exactly. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back. And then I'm gonna ask my co-hosts. We're gonna come up with a topic of, because everyone thinks that everything is expensive, but we're gonna come up with some inexpensive ways to give yourself five topics of inexpensive stress activities that you can do to help cope with your stress
Okay.
or reduce your stress. Okay,
Reduce
so we're
it.
going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. Heck, we're having so much technical stuff going on here tonight. I don't know what is going on here, but anyway, we are
Gotta take care of it.
trying to stress me out, but you don't. You're not winning here. You're not winning here.
Nuh-uh.
Show must go on. So again, welcome back to Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Samara M of the Self Care Corner. So, Samara, and that video that was just shown on break, that will be released next Friday.
Yay.
It will be released next Friday, and it's actually my spoken word. It's called the Sincere Jazz Self Care Anthem.
That's so nice. And that actually adds to one of the 5 resources that you wanted to pick up on
Yeah,
for
so
reducing stress. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's actually a spoken word. It's a stress stress free anthem that you'll be able to listen to, just to gather and to soothe into. Yeah, it'll be released next Friday to the world to see. And to hear, and hopefully you will enjoy it. It has it. So come up, give up a number one here that someone can use.
So you wanted me to think of like 5 different
Mm-hmm.
inexpensive resources,
Yeah.
right? To help with alleviating some of your stress or coping better with
Yes.
stress. Okay, just making sure I thought about this correctly over the break. Um, Number 1 would be to look up different videos on YouTube that you find to be comforting. So, like animal videos, music videos, like things that you find to be really soothing, even just like certain YouTube tunes, following different, not like influencers, but I think looking up videos that are comforting to you is a big one. I love animal videos for me personally. I just think they're so heartwarming and lighthearted. They're so loving. I get to like look at all these people interact with animals so beautifully. It gives me a lot of hope for society just because it shows like how comforting people feel with the things around them. So that's one. By the way, this is not in any particular order. I'm just spitballing things that would be inexpensive and easy to tackle. Um, Making sure that you feel comfortable going for walks or exploring new parts of the city that or place that you live in. So getting up and just seeing what's out there. Sometimes you might find a new cafe that opens. I know in the city things open up all the time, so it's good to know what's around you. So yeah, going for walks is awesome. What's number 3? Number 3 is actually, interestingly enough, look into your space and find things that you could either declutter or find things that you want to refurbish or, replace. Those are good ways to de-stress and really make your space a lot more comfortable. So that's another one. That would be number 3. So just decluttering or like replacing just any of those things. It's also, with April on Earth Day, that's a big one as well. Preserving Mother Earth and just really finding things that we appreciate about our, planet and world so nicely. Figuring out your diet is another one. There are certain things that you could really replace in your diet that would be a lot more easy on your stress. It's nice to kind of figure out opportunities where just eating something really yummy or accessible will alleviate a lot of that stress. And I think that was 4. So 5 would be, I mean, not like I said, this isn't any particular order, but just listen to things that you feel good about. So like good music, a good TV show, uh, a good automated book, or even just like picking up physically something that you feel good about. So like I said, it could be a physical aspect where you pick up a book, you pick up a picture, you pick up your cat. I don't know, like it could be physically like picking up something that you feel good about and putting that energy out there on like things that you feel really positively good with, right? And that's so good to know. Earth Day is your birthday, Lisa. That's one of the best birthday dates ever. So you and Mama Earth are right there with you. That's awesome. That's
So
really nice.
actually, thank you, Samara. Thank you for those. There's actually some apps that people can use as well, and I'm going to give you out a couple of those since this is Stress Awareness Month, and to let you know that in November the 2nd this year, 2022, November the 2nd will be National Stress Awareness Day. So some things will be going on during that time too, as well. National Awareness of Stress Day for November the 2nd, November the 2nd, 2022. But for apps that you can use, and they are Breathe, BREATHE2, Relax, which is a smartphone app that instructs exercises with breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, remembering breathing actually reduces your stress. So, deep breathing exercise. This is one app that you can use. Pacifica, PACIFICA. This provides a guided deep breathing and music relaxation exercise. And it also has a mood tracker to it. And it's with an app as well. GPS for the soul. I love it. I love it. GPS for the soul. This feature is associated with Mr. Chopra, who is a guru of meditation. This feature uses biofeedback, which is something that I specialize in as well. With biofeedback with stress, biofeedback is an electromagnetic type of using your pulses to actually radiate and find where there's triggers or maybe signals of stress, but it actually helps to relax. Happify, HAPPIFY. It's a brain training app that is based upon research that helps you alter negative feelings and foster positive feelings. So we're all on track of things that you just said. And then there's Pocket Yoga. The mechanism allows you to look up single poses or put together routines. I will say I've actually tried through a workshop, because I do this stuff with counseling and stuff. It's called Qigong. I'll tell you, it was very relaxing. I just went back to the hotel room and went right back to sleep. It's just actually stretching and just basic movements and different things like that. But it actually relaxed the body. And when I went back to sleep, so it was really neat. I mean, there's some things that out here, like you said, a lot of resources that are out here that we can use. Oh.
Been a
So
day, hasn't it?
it has been a day. It has been a day. So if anyone has any questions, Samara, tell the audience where we can find the Gmail for it.
So I do have a Gmail. It is selfcarecorner01@gmail.com. I'm very eager to see you guys email me. I was so eager about this that I put it on my phone, so I will check emails. I'm hoping to hear from you all if you come across and you just want to pick my brain or hear from Michelle. We're very big on collaborating, so please come to us and let us know how we could, support and be there with you. And, I think what's really nice about this, everything that you said about the apps, they do come alongside with people having access to smartphones, or the internet, or, those digital spaces. It is important to note also that for some people that don't have as much of the digital resources, the things that I mentioned are very easy to access. Like you could find a place to find a really nice apple to munch on instead of a bag of chips, or like you could find ways to like get clutter out of your own home, as opposed to like finding and buying more things. Just making space feels really good. And like I said, like listening to music, things that are really nice and comforting, watching videos, or like if you do have a TV or a book to read, like look up books and articles and things that you like to read that are heartwarming and good stories. Sometimes when we hear so much of the news that's even more stressful, like I said, and it says right there, decide what's important to you, figure out the things that you feel really connected to and that you want to preserve in your space. So that's really like the way to go, honestly. I think in a lot of ways, it's just important to know, like I was saying, just alleviating what is stressing you out. If it's your health, work on your health, but it's inevitable. It'll happen. We'll all be stressed about our health, even relationships and friendships and family. Family, oh my God, I'm surprised we didn't say anything about family being stressful. Oh my goodness. I
So
guess we were just avoiding
everyone,
it.
do you mind me telling it? Do you mind me telling it?
That I'm getting married? Is that what you wanted to say?
She got a ring, y'all. She got a ring. She put a ring on. He got to
I
put a
didn't
ring
wear
on
it today, but I do got a ring. I do, I swear. He put a ring on it because he knows
it.
that's a thing. Yes. Oh
Put
my
a ring
God.
on it, and I am excited about that. That's
Thank
good.
you.
Congratulations to you. He's I've got to meet him over the summer,
Yes.
last summer. Very, 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 very,
He's
very.
such a fan. He asked about, he was like, by the way, when do you, and this is like the almost like yesterday or like the day before yesterday. I'm like, I don't know how I didn't tell you that I'm seeing her like on Tuesday, but it's awesome. No, he's such a fan of you, Michelle. It's really great that you'll be able to celebrate with us. Even just like coming together with a loved one helps with de-stressing too. Like seeing you over the
Exactly.
city. Yeah, when we saw you over the city, that was so much fun.
We
I,
had fun.
I put a lot on your plate, but it was a lot of fun.
It
So
was fun. It was really fun. And and speaking of stress with you got this wedding you're planning. It I hope I've got to help you with what I sent to you, that website that I sent to
it
you.
did, yes, and you know what? That's what's really nice about having, your priorities and figuring out things.
Exactly.
Most of the time when, let's say, you have to plan an activity or plan even like a session, or in my case a wedding, it's really just like narrowing down all the things that are important to you. So my vendors are important, like the guests are important, hosting everyone in the same space is important, and just figuring out how you tackle each of those things, narrowing down each task and knowing that you're going to do it and achieve it, and that's really all there is to it. So it's, sometimes for a lot of people, they'll have to mentally prepare, like getting married, something like that, or like they'll have to mentally prepare seeing their in laws or family or whoever. And like we laugh about it, but it's true because for a lot of folks, they don't know how to handle that intensity and what it means to them. So that's why it was very fitting that you brought that up, because people ask me all the time, like, "Oh my God, you must be so stressed." I'm like, "No, actually, I love planning my wedding and I'm having so much fun with it. Thank goodness." So that works out really nicely.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad that when I saw that somebody actually gave that to me about. There's actually people who do portraits like and use this app too. They come do portraits, and it's this app and this website that you can go to for any type of vendor in your area. You just punch in your city or whatever you're in, and it'll give you a list of who makeup artists, all of that type of stuff. I was like, man, somebody had just gave it. It is so funny. Somebody had just gave it to me like 2 weeks ago for a photographer. So it's all types of services, even to the DJ, all of that type of stuff. So
It's so funny how things come in full circle when you're talking about something, or even when you put something out in the atmosphere. It
mm-hmm,
makes a huge difference.
mm-hmm,
That's
mm-hmm.
why I'm a big believer, at least in like what I put out in the atmosphere and what I say and what I affirm out there. I most likely want it to come true. And that goes
Exactly.
for everything that we say. That's
Yeah.
why I always try to leave things like, oh, I don't want to wish this on anyone, or like, I don't want to take this too seriously, like if I'm upset with someone or whoever, because I'm a human, especially a woman who feels things. So it's like I could be feeling like overwhelmed and moody or like upset with someone, and I just want to always make sure that when I put things out in the atmosphere, I'm reassuring myself that I'll be okay also. So it's really, it goes a long way. I'm a big believer in. I really am.
So again, everyone, this is the newest junction, and there's something else that's coming with this in another week or two. There's actually another one that's called the Self Care Discovering Me that will be
Oh.
coming through as well. And these are personal affirmations that you have to speak positive. And look, position with favor. So different
Ooh.
ones, different sayings that's inside. And these are my own personal quotes that I've had, that I've written down throughout the years.
How many pages are in this little workbook?
So this here has 20, but the next one actually has a discovering me. What did you discover about yourself today? The next one is a 60 page, and it's actually like a journal that you also can be able to write in. So it'll
It
be
would
coming
be
up with that in a couple weeks.
it would be kind of fun to have someone from the audience who's commenting to pick a random number between 1 and 20 and see what the page number tells them about their affirmation.
Oh yes. Look, this is why we connect. She comes up with it, I fly right with it. But hey, that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, so from 1 to 20, someone throw out a number.
Throw out a
And
number,
this will
guys.
be your awareness of
Or
your
affirmation of the
affirmation.
night. Yeah.
Yep, that'll be your affirmation for the night. And then also, if you have time, because we only have a couple more minutes, and you could go back and catch the replay because I will watch this. The year that Stress Awareness Month came together. Okay, so we have number 16 here.
Thank
Page
you. First
16
number. What's
for
your
Okima.
affirmation?
This is yours.
And then we have 7, so you have to do 7 after. And 12.
Okay. So we have for Okima, for you, yours is
Number 16.
destined with power.
Whoa!
So
Show it, show it, show
with
it.
power. Number 7 for Roxanne, blessed, gorgeous, and prosperous.
Okay, that's really nice. And then
And
we have
number
12.
12, a woman of substance.
Everyone's got such good ones. I hope you guys all like yours because those were
So yeah,
very empowering.
these are available at Amazon, and the Let's Talk No Stress is also available at Amazon. I do have a few copies on hand, as well. And next week, kids be looking out for the Discovering Me. It's actually really nice about that. So, and it's all in the realm of art therapy.
I feel like we really what's the word, like inspired one another, getting to know each other, Who would
Yeah.
have thought you'd come out with a coloring book? Are you going to provide the crayons with them too?
I actually do. I actually
Oh,
do.
that's so cute.
Yes. The coloring pencils with them, coloring pencils with
But so crayons are included, but batteries are not included in this one,
them.
guys.
So I said art therapy rocks.
Love
So
it.
everyone, we like to thank you for tuning in tonight. And
Thank
these are
you.
to remember this is Stress Awareness Month. We have gave us some tips. And again, thank you to my co-host Samara M, who she will be back with us again next month. Your 1 week, your one night a month of therapy, free therapy. So you need to grab a couple friends. Just have a look. Hey, I'm having a therapy party or
A
something like
therapy party.
have a
Oh my
therapy
god.
party and tune in. Again, we appreciate you guys, all of you who support the
Yes, we do.
Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. There's more things. Last week, Samara, guess what I did last week? I took it on location last week to a restaurant last week. Um, so
The sound
I took the
bowls.
whole podcast. We did it out of a restaurant last week. So it was really at these
Oh,
things. So we got some good things coming up.
okay.
We have a comedy show that I'm hosting part of with someone from the Comedy Factory, Alabama. He will be with us in May the 21st. There's some
Oh my gosh.
stuff.
Laughter is the best thing. It really helps the soul in so many ways. So I hope he's funny as all hell because that will be one great show.
Yeah, so we had that again. We have that. Then those tickets you can contact me or you can go to Eventbrite for the tickets for those. So yeah,
Awesome.
we have a lot of things coming up. Music. I have a good musical group, a breath of fresh air. So you're gonna breathe as your dad. So again, I do all things in connection with the mind, body, and soul. So again, thank you guys. And
Thank
until
you.
next week, love you, sister girl. Love you. And we will definitely be in touch. Next week, tune into us next week. We have a great lineup next week. And
You
I
don't want to
am
miss
okay.
Michelle. So find a comfy cushion or something. You just want to hear it. You want to tune in. We got you, okay?
Oh gosh. Well, Samara, stay tuned. Stay back on. But good night, everyone. Until next week. If no one has not told you lately, I do love you. I love you here at
Oh,
Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. Until next week, I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond.
bye everyone.